Hey everyone, I'm Tanya.
And I'm Jason.
And we're from
The Board Game Nook.
Today we're going to talk about Comic Book Boom by Gadabout Games, designed by Dan Nichols, illustrated by Eric Koda.
It's a 2 to 4 player game, plays 30 to 45 minutes. It's a push your luck tableau builder.
Normally, I'm the one to talk about the presentation of a board game and how it looks and how the art is, but in this particular case, I'm going to hand over the reins to Jason.
Now, I'm going to try not to gush very much.
But he will.
I will, yes. To start, the box, I mean, right off the bat, it says limited edition collector's prototype. Amazing. I absolutely love that. It got me.
A board game that looks like a comic? Crazy.
and then as soon as you open it up, you get to the rule book, which was also shaped just like a comic book. So I was already immediately drawn right into the theme and ready to go. And really, I wanted to collect this before I even started playing it.
Yep. And the comic book itself, the rule book itself, that is definitely laid out like a comic. Jason found it was an absolute pleasure to read the rules, which, as you guys know, he's kind of a stickler for rules.
It was quite good. In fact, there are very few games where there aren't some inconsistencies or some questions I have, but this rule book, it laid everything out. I knew exactly how to play, and I had zero qualms with the rule book, and it was fantastic. Just great. Again, with the presentation, it was spot on.
So what is this game about? So it looks so awesome. Well, we're trying to be kingpins of the comic book world in the 1990s. And essentially what we're doing is we're researching comic books so that we can publish them and really hype them up so we can make lots and lots of money. But then, as what happens with most comic books, is that when you overhype things, people get bored of them and you can burst that bubble and lose everything. So about the rules, which of course, as I said, Jason really loves, he can get into that for you about how this game is played.
The game, basically it takes place over a couple rounds, and will end once the comic book industry has been overhyped in general. The way it becomes overhyped is every turn, it's just going to progress slowly, and every time someone overhypes a specific genre, it will also progress. So the game doesn't have a certain amount of turns. It can actually go really fast or be slower depending on what you're publishing and how much hype you're giving it.
That's right.
With that being said, the winner of the game at the end is the person with the most money. So how do we get that money?
That's right.
Well, each round takes place over five sequences, which are all played simultaneously, except for when you reveal your comics. So this really speeds up the gameplay.
Yeah, we're going to research first.
Researching. That's you're going to purchase comic books, and you're going to purchase enhancements for them and stunts for them. Enhancements are things like embossed covers, and stunts are things like the death of the
anniversary edition,
things that hype up a comic.
Yeah.
After every player has simultaneously purchased what they'd like to, it goes on to the development phase where each player will build their tableau in front of them.
Because some cards, like some stunts, work better with others and with other heroes. So you're trying to finagle what cards work the best to hype up your personal comic.
Exactly, and it's quite good. The comic books will always stay in your tableau until they become overhyped, and the enhancements and stunts always come back into your hand. So you will almost always have access to a lot of different stunts, and you can switch them up round to round. When you publish the comic books, each player is going to reveal the book that they made. They're going to reveal the stunts and the enhancements on it.
And that's where the shenanigans begin, because of course you couldn't see what other people were doing until they are published. And then you're trying to overhype what is this one called again?
Fashion. High fashion.
Okay, so my comic is high fashion, but someone else also has high fashion, and then they overhype that. And so this is where you didn't particularly make it overhype, but somebody else will push it into and burst that bubble. Or many other different factions. There's like fashion,
armor, big guns, motorcycles. My favorite, Batitude.
Yeah, Batitude.
Um,
So that's the published phase. Now, if you do get overhyped, unfortunately, you lose all of your profit. You don't get to get any profit because nobody wants to buy your comics.
yeah, you will be given $1 per card, but you are forced to discard whatever comic books were part of that specific genre.
And then that, whatever that genre was, goes back down to the bottom, and then it can reset again, which is why some can go, all of them can go hardcore, and you can end it pretty darn quickly, or you can have this nice even balance of like they're going and then coming back, and it works kind of like a tide. And then of course, if it didn't get overhyped, then you can get
You
your
make
profit.
the money.
Yes.
And the money, you get it because from two things. The readership, so the amount of people that are reading the book, which is along the overhyped track, multiplied by the collectability of the comic. You enhance the collectability by adding diamonds or collectability through enhancements. The readership is dictated by where your genre is on the overhyped board. And then you multiply the two by each other. So you can have some really big payouts, or you can have little payouts, or it might be burst.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the whole game. It's very, very simple. It's the cards, of course, that make the game as it is with most board games. You know, the content is what makes the board game really, really fun to do, and we're going to get into that shortly. This game, as you play it and you're going through the cards, it definitely draws you into the theme. However, it's the people around the table that are really gonna add that extra exuberance to playing it, because you want to be excited about your heroes and your heroines that are in the comic book that you are creating. And the more fun you have with that, the better it will be around the whole table. And the fact that this is a very straightforward game of what you're actually doing, the theme is about your excitement about your comic books in the 90s.
It was fun. It was fun creating your comics. You picked out your heroes, Maximus Batitude, and you give them an embossed cover, and guess what? It's the anniversary edition, or Triggerfinger comes into play, and he's got a crossover with Maximus Batitude. So there's a lot of well, we found a lot of excitement at the table as you're publishing your comics and showing them off. And...
yeah, it was great to like pull that card, you don't know what it is, and just being like making up your own stories of, you know, how these guys came into existence. And, you know, it was really, really great to have that storytelling. Now, I'm sure for playability wise, like when you're playing with 4 players, we went through practically the whole deck.
Yes, we went through almost. Well, we did. We went through every deck for the most part. So a lot of the fun of this game, or quite a bit, came from the discoverability, like seeing all the new heroes and hearing about them, and coming up with your own little stories. That was a lot of fun. But I suppose at 4 players, we saw all the cards.
Yes.
So discoverability will definitely go down in
2 players,
subsequent plays.
You probably won't make it through that deck, so you know that excitement factor will.
Yeah, at 2 players will be a longer excitement factor because you'll see less of the cards.
Regardless of how many people are playing, though, you're all playing simultaneously, which is a fantastic
design choice.
Yes.
Simultaneous play. It just everything is streamlined and plays so quickly. And it's great. It's a different feel whether you're playing at 2 players versus 4 players, for instance. Because at 2 players, I can look over and see what Tanya's building. I'd be like, oh, she's doing high fashion. Okay, so maybe
you're trying to push your luck in the sense that I also have high fashion, so I'm trying to hype it so I can make more money, but then not too much, because then of course neither one of us will make profit.
So it's a little more strategic.
Yes.
Whereas at 4 players, it's very hard to keep track of everything.
It's just pure chaos because you have no idea what's going on or what people are doing.
So it really, really leans into the push your luck mechanism where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna hype this all the way and hope for the best.
And if it goes great, you have huge payouts. It works out really, really well. But then often more than not, you do overhype it, and then you bust, which
can happen. But so you get that but even if you get that huge payout, for instance, which is like $45, which is a lot in this game, there's a nice catch-up mechanism so that other players, like maybe they didn't get paid as much during the research phase. You can spend this token to purchase cards in lieu of money. So you'll get essentially one free card purchase that no one else does. And that can...
And the person that gets that catch-up mechanism is the one who made the least amount of
Who has the
profit.
least amount of money at the end of the round.
Yep. So it does help. It's not like you're just left in the dust for, well, you are, but not for very long. And the catch-up mechanism helps. It doesn't make it complicated at all. It just helps you go a little bit further and then make profit on the next round.
Exactly. Good or bad, this game hits all of my acquisition disorder. Whether I play it or not, I will proudly display this on my shelf.
Yep. It does hit Jason in all the feels. Love the concept of this game.
It's more, we believe it's more replayable at 2 versus 4.
Yes. And it has huge potential for expansion. So even though we went through all the cards and second, third time round, you're like, yeah, it's the same hero. I mean, you could just expand more and it'll bring that excitement back.
You could add more genres. You could have each player start with a comic book industry. So they get extra bonuses for hype or for certain, like for Batitude, for instance, like a bonus. So it gets people to focus more on a certain one. Yeah. There's so many great ideas to expand this game.
As it plays right now, it's still pretty great. It is a huge, what a feeling to be like, yes, I gambled and I won, and I got a huge payout, and it's crazy, it's awesome, it's all hyped up, and you just feel great.
That huge payout is awesome.
When you do overhype and you bankrupted yourself, it's no big deal because it's
other players usually suffer with you.
So you suffer together and not for very long. So
it takes away a lot of the bad feelings and it actually turns it into a funny moment.
Yes. So if this sounds interesting to you, please check it out. Crowdfunding coming soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye
for now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya from Board Game Nook. Please like and subscribe on Facebook or YouTube, or you can check out our website at boardgamenook.com. If you're in the Edmonton area, we run a board game rental store. So please check that out. Have a great day. Bye for now.
It plays 2 to 4 in about 30 to 45 minutes, and it's a push your luck tableau builder.
Yep. Now, right now, listen.
Final
Okay.